सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
You're listening to Bare Knuckle Bhakti Shorties on the Bhakti Recovery Podcast with Jiva G, coming at you every Monday with a little spiritual something. Hello, my friends. Here we are again at another step. We are on step 8. Step 8, which states we made a list of all persons we had harmed, all persons, and became willing to make amends to them all. Yeah, guys, this one can be really painful for a lot of people. I mean, first we have to kind of define what is harm, you know. We need to get really honest before we can make an accurate list. I mean, it says also in the basic text of Narcotics Anonymous that we really need to define what that harm is. You know, if it, find the definition of physical or mental damage, and maybe you've inflicted pain or suffering to somebody, or you've, intentionally or non-intentionally, and it's really it could be also a lot of verbal abuse that we have maybe really upset somebody. And the spectrum is huge. It can go from the littlest thing to capital, to capital punishment, to murder. Everyone's done something, whether it's intentional or not intentional. And if we don't make that list and become willing, actually, making a list is the actual action of becoming willing. All of these things are also deep secrets, things that we've done to people. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to tell people what we've done to other people. It's humiliating. And not only that, it's a lot of people who've done their A step, they don't even want to see it on paper. It's so shameful. And, we'll talk about also putting yourself on that list. But let's talk about others first and the benefits of that. Through this whole process of become willing to make amends to those people, we've gotten a very good look and a very good understanding about what our patterns are in steps 4 and 5 if we've done them thoroughly. We've talked about that. We put that list of our resentments. We found out that it was fear-driven or anger-driven. Whatever those actions were, they were driven by something, and we find that out. And then we share that with another human being and God. We become willing to have God remove them in the 6th, and then the 7th, we ask him to remove them. And those are the burdens that we carried within ourselves. Those are the burdens, the resentments, the feelings that we carried with ourselves. And now we want to at least make amends for the burdens we caused others. And this is a really difficult one for some. Some things in life are very clear. If you were a bully as a teenager and you bullied someone and you still feel bad about it, anything that haunts you, anything that you feel bad about, anything that you know that you've hurt somebody or done harm to them, I would recommend you put that on your list. Anything, all of it. It doesn't mean you're going to make those amends because you need to talk to your sponsor first, but it means it's one of those things on the list. Finding out how to separate our side of the street and their side of the street can be the most challenging thing. So when we're talking about family members, spouses, that's the hardest. Those are the hardest because we think, okay, let's say the perfect example of a spouse, apologizing and making amends for your side of something that you've done, which you feel is a reaction from what they've done to you. It's hard because we feel self-righteous and we carry that with us. We carry that anger with us. We carry the resentment with us. And we should hope that we have got rid of at least, I would say, 60% of our resentments. In the fourth and the fifth step. And if that's the case, then we learn to recognize that. In some cases, we do know that the persons that we have harmed or wronged. We know that maybe they have done 10 times worse things to us, or we believe that they have done 10 times worse to us. I mean, in the end, what this really helps us do is gives us awareness. It gives us awareness of how we treat ourselves and how we treat people. And often that's a direct mirror. Often. Especially for classic people who are self-centered in the extreme. When we become willing to make that list, then we become willing to make those amends. And that's step 9. And that's why I don't want to put that in there now. It's really the step 8. We need to just make a list of all persons we had harmed, and we start to become willing to make amends to them, which means that by doing that list, we are becoming willing. And everyone and everything should go on that list, even yourselves. Yes, you heard me right, yourself. How many harms have we done ourselves? How many times has our brain or our constant conditioning gotten in the way of better judgment, gotten in the way of better decisions, gotten in the way of our spiritual progress? Behind every single thing that has kept me away from Krishna, behind each and every one of those actions, thoughts, or dealings, there's the big glaring mirror, I must admit, and that has caused me a lot of harm in life. Putting your parents on that list, even if they were horrible parents, it's hard. It's really hard to see our part, but this is what trains us and makes us, or gives us the opportunity. It really gives us the opportunity to reflect. The list is just the beginning, because the list, like I said, is the willingness. Separating a situation. If somebody's done 10 times more harm to you than you've done to them, still your harm counts. That's their side of the street. If they're not willing to say sorry, they're not willing to say sorry. And you know how long it took me to make amends to my ex-husband? It was years. And when I did, it was like a rock boulder off my shoulders. And it was honest. And I was able to really see my part in things. Even if I wasn't doing it intentionally, I wasn't capable of listening. And all of these things we start to learn through a program, we start to learn through Krishna consciousness, we start to learn through maturity. That we start to be able to understand that our actions really do affect people around us. And to become aware of that, and also to apologize to the harms done in the past, it helps us to become aware of harms that can be done in the future to ourselves and to others. It's pretty profound, my friends. And I would really like to go right into the 9th step now, but I'm not going to, because the 9th step is there where the action starts. And it really is in 2 separate steps for a very good reason, the 8th and the 9th. Because if we're thinking about just the aspect or the prospect of having to apologize to or make amends to somebody who we feel has wronged us horribly is very intimidating, and it closes the door really quick. And that's why we're just making a list first. We're not doing anything. We're just making a list and becoming willing. Yeah, and sometimes that process takes a long time. I did my 9th step. I've done an 8th and 9th step to everyone in my life now. Every single person. I'll probably have a couple, as we go around in life. I probably have some more 9 steps to make now, but I just mean as far as I would say, as far as any substance abuse goes or any codependent issues go, my amends have been made. But with other things, I can snap and get very angry at people. Life is you're accumulating those, and that list of harming others becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and even the harms are smaller, and that's what we're aiming for. We want that list to shrink. We want the list to shrink. It's profound. This is really profound work. It has so many benefits. Yeah. I think one of the most important things is also that we avoid trying to rationalize our behaviors. On that note, well, he did this, so I was reacting, and that's an absolute okay reaction, and I had every right to do this, blah blah blah. When your rationalization starts with "I have the right to," then we know that we need to take another good look at our 4th step and our 8th step list. Sure, you have the right. Everyone has a right. You have the right to do what you want. You have a right to go and slap someone in the head if you want. But the consequences, you also have a right to those consequences. And we don't want to have consequences like that in our spiritual lives. We just don't want to have that anymore. We become ready to have that list. We become really open and ready and vulnerable. It also allows us to be vulnerable. Making that list allows us to be vulnerable. And that's the key. If we don't let ourselves get softer and more vulnerable and allow to look at the harms done in someone else's shoes that we've done to someone else, if we don't get that straight, we're going to continue doing that, and our list is going to grow. And that's not what we want here. We want our list to shrink. This is not the 8th step growing list. This is the 8th step. Let's shrink this. Let's make this burden less. All right, peoples. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I'm a little tired today, in case you haven't heard. I've got to... I just recorded this one day after I did the 7th step, or 2 days after, because Lakshman, my partner, who brings all of this in the digital wavelengths. I don't even know how to talk technical, but whatever. He brings this to your devices. However you're listening to this, he's making that possible. He is going away for 6 days and will not be able to do that because it's on his computer, all the programming. And so we are doing this now so that he can time it and release it on Monday. I don't know if you really cared to hear that information, but it's viable. And my apologies if my energy levels are a little bit low. But that's a taste, that's a flavor of the step 8. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And put yourself on that list, people. Don't forget to put yourself on that list. And most of all, put the person you have the most resentments with on that list. And then we're going to go into step 9 next week. Right. I'm really happy that we're getting through this. Next week is step 9. Then we just have 10, 11, and 12. And then let's see what Krishna has in store for us. Maybe I'll be struck by some really great idea to try and use in service. All right, my friends. Love you all. Hare Krishna. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the Monday Shorties. Don't forget to check out our full-length episodes on Thursdays. If you like what you heard, spread the word. Peace out.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.